What the fuck is up, YouTube? It's your boy, Ansel fucking Drinks. Don't forget to fucking like, comment, subscribe. I'm just kidding, I don't care about any of that shit. Today we're gonna be looking at my 1991 Yugo. I get a lot of questions about it, so we're just kind of do a walk around and check it out.
Let's actually look at the car. Let's just talk about a pet peeve of mine. So this is Kragujevac, Serbia, where the Yugo was built. And a lot of people always make jokes like, oh, it's a Soviet car, or is that car radioactive, or all sorts of real edgy things like this. So this is Serbia right here. And here, all the way, almost 2,000 miles over here, this is the Lada factory. So when people equate Yugoslavia with the Soviet Union, it really bothers me because it's closer to Italy than, Russia. So anyway,
All right, glad we got that bullshit out of the way. Let's check out the car. So like I said, this is a 1991. This is a GV Plus, which means there's a couple options that weren't on the base model. It's got 3 of the alloy wheels. Haven't been able to find another one. The car is actually pretty straight. As you can see, my friend Jared has kind of half buffed it, mostly. Paint really came back. It's a single stage. It used to be more of a burnt orange color, but now definitely the paint is definitely improved. It does have a couple dents on it. It's got one right here. I think it was being moved and bumped into something because the bumper was messed up there too. And then I just noticed another one today over here. Pretty minor. The rest of the car is remarkably straight. So another question I get a lot with this car is, well, how did you get it? So my coworker Connor found 3 of these on the Gambler 500 Facebook page, shared from Marketplace, for $700. So we went and got all 3. This was the nicest one, so I decided to keep that one. He did a lot of work on my car, my 850, because I don't want to work on it. And so I kind of just gave him the other one. And then there was a parts car. Not really sure what we're doing with that one, but he has the other one running and driving. It's kind of a rust bucket, but it's pretty cool. So we got these from Post Falls, Idaho, which is about like a 6-hour drive. We can only fit 2 on the trailer. This one actually had to be pushed over the lip of the trailer. It was kind of hanging off of the front of it because we couldn't fit both on there. Yeah, this is the cream of the crop. All right, let's check out the interior of the Yugo. I actually got these door handles from a guy in Serbia, shipped them over to new old stock. Oh fuck, this is a fucking mess. Sorry. Fucking. Ooh. What's this? Delicious. Anyway, so interior is actually in pretty good shape. There's a couple little tears in the seats, like here, but other than that, it's pretty clean. It's pretty complete. I had to take both door panels off to replace the door handles, and it was actually pretty infuriating. Unfortunately, this little cheesy wooden thing on the dash is broken. But everything else is pretty much here. I have all the trim for the steering wheel, all that. This is actually one of my favorite parts, is this check engine light, which is literally just a light. It is a 5-speed. Some of these earlier ones had a 4-speed. This car does have air conditioning. And when we took it, it doesn't work on the car. It actually still had a charge. And it has the original Yugo radio. It will light up. It doesn't display anything on the screen, but it does light up and work. Only one speaker works, but that's fine. So, but yeah, the interior is actually it's actually not bad. I do have this panel off to access the fuel filler pipe, and I'll get to that in a second. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty complete. So while we're here, I couldn't leave out my favorite quirk and or feature about this car, the seat belts. So this seat belt goes across and plugs in right here. Now you've got a second belt. It comes all the way up here to this receptacle in the door. Now earlier ones didn't have this. So you've got this bracket here that ties into this bracket here on the pillar, which I assume it goes together when you close the door. I assume this is to, I guess, keep you from flying out of the car. I'm not really sure. I've never really seen anything quite like it. It doesn't seem like it's very securely attached here, but then once you plug it into this metal bracket, I assume it's a, safety feature. So while we're at the back of the car, I do have the taillights off. A little bit more on that later, but I can open up the hatch here. It has a lock cylinder here, but as you can see, it's a little... So I'm going to find my key for it. Oh, here we go. Nice. It does have a little luggage cover tray that would sit here. That's not in the car currently. So I do have this fuel filler pipe off. It's got this really funky metal insert, which is kind of absurd to me that it's painted. I accidentally cut the fuel filler neck right here. A little miscommunication. I thought that the hose was cut, but no, the tank was cut that was on this car. And so I cut through it, but I got a new one. It probably should be replaced because this is like fucking rock hard. So another lovely little feature here. This was locked when I got it. There's a lock cylinder. The earlier ones don't have this. They have an exposed little cap on there. This one, gotta open the fucking door here. When I tried to remove that lock cylinder, I think we put a screwdriver in it. It ejected itself out of here and spit all the guts all over the ground, which is really kind of what I expected for the build quality of this vehicle. Most other stuff on it doesn't quite do that, but this lock cylinder definitely lived up to the reputation. So let's check under the hood of the Yugo. See the beast of an engine. So this car, a little bit special because it has the 1.3 liter fuel injected engine. It's a little bit different. Earlier ones had a 1.1 carbureted. This is the bigger engine. It actually has Bosch Motronic fuel injection. So it actually shares quite a few parts with really any 80s Bosch European car. So like this throttle position sensor is actually the same one that's on my Volvo 850. The cap is the same that's on my Volvo 240. There's a couple other parts in here. A bunch of it is just kind of Bosch 80s parts bin stuff. What's special about this one is it has AC. And the fact that it's a fuel-injected engine with AC actually kind of has made my life miserable trying to find parts for it. There weren't very many made. I believe fuel-injected models were in the U.S. only 91 and 92. They only made something like 5,000-6,000 cars. So a lot of this stuff has to come from Serbia. It had a bad throttle cable. I was unable to find that. The routing for the V-belts is completely different. So I actually have one on here from a lawnmower. Thank you, Gates, for... You can't really... Yeah, you really can't see it. But, yeah, so the engine, when I got it, we got it running. All the injectors were clogged. I had to pull the rail out. The rail sits underneath this intake manifold, so you have to snake the whole thing out. It's kind of a pain in the ass. All the injectors were clogged. Got those unclogged, got it running, and then it proceeded to puke all of the coolant out all over the place. It was a real mess. It kind of did it overnight, not all at once. The water pump that was in it had the impeller on it was completely bent. If you spun it, you could see it just was definitely not sitting where it should be. So I got that fixed, did a timing belt. That's kind of one of the things on these cars. one of the reasons they got such a bad reputation is the timing belt interval is something like 30,000 miles, and it's an interference engine. So people didn't change them. 8 valves. Oh, what a piece of shit. Well, okay. So timing belt's actually fairly easy to do. Some of the other stuff, because of the fuel injection and the AC, was a complete pain in the ass. But definitely, you know, not the worst engine I've worked on, but it's definitely not great. Another thing, I always like this little scoop guy here. I always thought that was, you know, some sort of funky ram air sort of bullshit. No, that's actually for the climate box, which would sit right here. Mine's sitting right here. So you've got kind of, you know, ram and induction for your AC, for your heat. I mean, that's real cutting edge stuff here. So I don't know if there's anything else under here that's necessarily too interesting. This engine does have several more horsepower than the carbureted models, than the 1.3 models, or sorry, the 1.1. This hose was a massive pain in the ass to get. I had to get this from Serbia. This was not here when I got the car. It's kind of really specific, and I don't really know why it's corrugated because it sits really quite flush, but it's got, this is the PCV vent hose out of the block there that goes into it, and then it's got some other shit there. Anyway, and then I used some clamps off I think a Volvo 850 to fix that. But yeah, other than that, the engine's pretty solid. It runs great. I have posted a video of that running. I might maybe throw it in here. I don't know. Here's another weird piece of trivia here while we're under here. So this is where the spare tire sits, and it's got this kind of brace here. And I do have the spare. It's somewhere over there. It is a made in Yugoslavia tire, which is kind of amazing, and it still holds air. Apparently, I don't know if this is true. Apparently, when the cars came to the States, they wouldn't pass the crash test standards with the spare removed. But with the spare in, they would pass. However, from what I've read, if you get into a crash at a higher speed with the spare tire in there, the spare tire will eject itself. Hi, Cooper. How's it going, bud? Yeah. The spare tire will, like, eject itself into the passenger cabin and possibly decapitate you. So, yeah, I think I'll probably be leaving my spare tire out. Not really sure, but, you know, doesn't sound fun. Anyway, so why I have this gas can here and why the tank is over there, when I bought it, it had the tank out of it. The car will run, however, it runs on this kind of cobbled together pump with a gas can here. So I need to put the tank back in. I don't have a fuel sender and I don't have a pump, and I've tried to get one. It seems a little spotty because the EFI stuff's kind of rare. I'm not really sure. I might try to adapt a Volvo pump. It will run with this pump, but that pump won't sit in the tank. With the tank, I've got this little piece here. This guy. So this is where the pump would sit down in the tank. The sender would be on top of that. So I'm not quite sure, but for now, I've just run it off of this fuel can. That was kind of the project that I'm avoiding today, actually, is putting the tank back in and replacing this fuel hose. So that's why I'm making this video instead of actually working on cars. Anyway, yeah, that is my 1991 Yugo. So a lot of people have asked me, oh, you know, is this a gambler car? Are you going to gamble this? As funny as it, you know, sounds to say, I think this car is probably a little bit too nice to do that with. One of the other ones, absolutely. I think driving this will be a gamble in itself. But I also don't think it's going to be as bad as what everyone has kind of said about these cars. It does have fuel injection. All that stuff looks pretty solid. It does run great. I do have a bunch of other parts for it. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the bumpers back on. It looks pretty cool without it, but I kind of like everything to be factory-ish. That said, I do have some cool new parts for it. I was able to get this guy Marco in Serbia. I got all new badges for it, which is pretty cool. I also got these from another guy in Serbia. So these are the outer tail lights. Normally these are amber, but these ones are, as you can see, white and red. They're pretty cool. They're new. I also have got stuff like a new shift boot. I have this is the fuel hose, the one that I cut because I'm an idiot. I've got that. I've also got louvers, which are gonna be, you know, pretty sick. I have this front lip, which if I do run the bumper, will look pretty cool. And then Austin, my neighbor, or former neighbor, good buddy, gave me these bike mufflers. I've got 2 of them. I think they're probably perfectly sized for this car. This thing had no, I mean, I kind of have part of the exhaust. This little dinky thing. I didn't have a muffler. No muffler. It has the cat, but everything from that is not on the car. Everything from the cat back. So what I may do is just kind of do a custom setup and run a single one of these mufflers, because I think that would be amazing. It might sound like a Civic, but yeah, it'll be cool. So all right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Definitely let me know if you want to see me do more stuff like this. I've definitely got more garbage cars. I've got this thing here, Fiat, that we're going to do something with at some point that will probably be entertaining to someone. So anyway, thanks for watching.